Hello, wonderful readers. So, have you ever drawn a picture to show your friends what you did over the weekend? Or maybe you've acted out a super exciting adventure for your family? Well, believe it or not, people have been doing things just like that for a very, very long time. We're going to take a journey back in time, way back to the Stone Age. Imagine living in a world without books, without phones, without even paper. How would you tell someone about the giant woolly mammoth you saw, or the successful hunt that brought food to your family? You would find a way because sharing our stories is something that makes us human. It connects us, teaches us, helps us understand our world and each other in a truly special way. Let's step inside a cool, dark cave thousands of years ago. The only light comes from a flickering fire, making shadows dance on the stone walls. Here, our ancient ancestors became the world's very first storytellers. They didn't have words written down, but they had their hands, their imaginations, and colors made from crushed berries, charcoal, and colored earth. They would dip their fingers into these natural paints and press them against the rock. With every handprint, with every line and shape, they were leaving a message. They were saying, "I was here. This is what I saw. This is what mattered to us." These weren't just simple drawings. They were the first chapter in the great big book of human history. Think about what they painted. Bison with big, powerful horns, graceful deer leaping through the air. They drew scenes of the hunt, showing people working together with spears to catch their food. These paintings were like a guide for the next generation. They taught which animals were dangerous, how to track them, and the importance of teamwork. The cave walls became a classroom and a storybook all in one. Every image was a lesson, a memory, and a piece of a much larger narrative. Survival, bravery, life in a wild and wonderful world. So why did they do it? Why spend so much time and effort painting in the dark? It's because sharing stories is one of the most powerful things we can do. These paintings connected the people in the group, creating a shared memory and a sense of belonging. From the very beginning, we have had this deep need to share our experiences, and those beautiful silent paintings on cave walls were the first loud and clear shout into the future. As people began to build villages, towns, and then magnificent cities, our ways of sharing stories had to grow and change too. Cave walls were great, but you couldn't exactly roll one up and send it to your cousin in the next village. People needed a way to store more information and make it portable. This led to an amazing invention in ancient lands like Egypt, Greece, Rome, the scroll. Imagine a very, very long sheet of paper, but instead of paper, it was made from a plant called papyrus. Stalks of this reed-like plant were flattened, pressed together, and dried in the sun to create a lightweight, flexible writing surface. Our story was officially on the move. These scrolls were incredible. They could be rolled up for easy storage and transport, but when you unrolled one, a whole world of knowledge would appear. Scribes, who were people with the special job of reading and writing, would spend countless hours carefully writing on these papyrus sheets. They used ink made from soot and pens made from sharpened reeds. They wrote down everything you can imagine: the laws of the land, exciting myths about gods and heroes, important historical events, songs, and poems. A library in those days, like the Great Library of Alexandria, wasn't filled with books like we know them, but with thousands and thousands of these precious, rolled-up scrolls. But scrolls weren't just for big libraries. They were used for everyday things as well. A merchant might use a small scroll to keep a list of the goods he was selling. A general might send a message to his soldiers rolled up in a scroll. This was a huge leap forward. Information was no longer stuck in one place on a wall. It could travel across deserts and seas, spreading ideas and stories farther and faster than ever before. Over time, people discovered another great material for writing: parchment. This was made from treated animal skin and was much stronger and more durable than papyrus. Eventually, people started cutting the parchment into rectangular pages and sewing them together on one side. This created something that looks a lot more like the books we read today, called a codex or manuscript. Each one was a unique work of art, often decorated with beautiful illustrations and fancy lettering, all done by hand. Every single word was a testament to the dedication of the scribe and the growing importance of preserving and sharing knowledge across generations. For thousands of years, every single book, every scroll, every manuscript had to be written out by hand. Think about that for a moment. If you wanted a copy of your favorite story, someone would have to sit down and write every single word all over again. It was a slow, careful process, and it meant that books were very rare and very expensive. Only the wealthiest people or large institutions like monasteries could afford to have them. This all changed in the 1400s with an invention that shook the world. A German man named Johannes Gutenberg, the printing press with movable type. It was an invention that would put stories into the hands of everyone. Here's how this amazing machine worked. Instead of writing out a whole page, Gutenberg made individual letters out of metal. He could arrange these tiny metal letters to spell out words. He could line them up to form sentences and lock them all together in a frame to create a full page. Then he would roll ink over the letters, lay a sheet of paper on top, and press it all down with a giant screw press. When he lifted the paper, presto, a perfectly printed page. But the real magic was that he could do this again, and again, and again. He could print hundreds, or even thousands, in the time it would take a scribe to write just one. Suddenly, books could be made quickly and cheaply. The first major book Gutenberg printed was the Bible, but soon the presses were churning out all sorts of books. There were books about science, adventure stories, poetry, history. Knowledge that had once been locked away for only a few to see was now available to many. People who had never had the chance to read a book before could now own one. This sparked a revolution in learning and ideas. It was like a light had been switched on all across Europe, and soon, all across the world. The printing press was the engine that powered this incredible spread of information. The impact was enormous and changed society forever. Because more people could read, more schools and universities were built. People could learn about new discoveries in science and medicine from far-off lands. They could read different opinions about government and different opinions about religion, which led them to think in new ways and ask new questions. The printing press connected people through shared ideas like never before. It gave a voice to thinkers and gave a voice to dreamers and allowed their words to travel across continents. It was a powerful tool that took storytelling to a whole new level, creating a community of readers that spanned the entire globe. As the world moved into the 1800s and 1900s, the hunger for information just kept growing. The printing press had made books common, but people wanted to know what was happening right now. They wanted to hear about events in their city, their country, even in faraway places. This need gave rise to another powerful form of storytelling, the newspaper. Using bigger, faster, steam-powered printing presses, publishers could print thousands of newspapers every single day. For just a few pennies, you could buy a paper and read about politics, read about local events, read about sports, read news from around the world. The world suddenly felt a lot smaller and more connected. Newspapers changed the way communities worked. People would gather in coffee shops or on street corners to discuss the day's headlines. A factory worker in London could read about a new law passed in Parliament that very same morning. A farmer in Kansas could read about the price of wheat in Chicago. It created a shared daily conversation. It also gave a voice to ordinary people who could write letters to the editor to share their opinions. Journalists became our new storytellers, racing to uncover the facts and report on events shaping our lives. But then, another amazing invention came along that added a whole new dimension to our stories: photography. Before photographs, you had to rely on a painting or a drawing to see a person or place. In the 1800s, inventors discovered how to capture a real-life image using light and chemicals. For the first time, people could see a true likeness of a faraway place or a person they had never met. When newspapers started printing photographs alongside articles, it was revolutionary. Seeing a picture of a flood, a celebration, a soldier on a battlefield had a powerful emotional impact that words alone could not always achieve. Newspapers and photographs worked together to create a richer, more immediate way of sharing our human experience. A photograph could show the emotion on a president's face as he gave a speech, and the newspaper article next to it could tell you what he said. Together, they provided both fact and feeling. They documented our history not just with words, but with real frozen moments in time. They allowed us to be eyewitnesses to history as it unfolded. This combination brought stories to life, more vivid, more personal, more powerful, connecting people through shared images and information. For most of history, our stories were held on physical things. You could touch the stone of a cave wall, unroll a papyrus scroll, or turn the paper page of a book or newspaper. But in the second half of the 20th century, something incredible began to happen. Our stories started to leap off the page and turn into invisible signals and flickering lights. This was the beginning of the digital age. It all started with computers, which were at first giant machines that filled entire rooms. These computers could store information not as ink on paper, but as a series of electronic ones and zeros. Our stories were becoming soft copies. This was a mind-boggling change. A soft copy is a version of a document, a picture, or a story that lives inside a computer's memory. You can't hold it in your hand, but you can see it on a screen. At first, this was used by scientists and big companies. But as computers got smaller, cheaper, and more powerful, they started appearing in our homes, our schools, and our offices. We began writing letters using word processors instead of typewriters. We created spreadsheets instead of filling out paper ledgers. The information was the same, but the way we created, stored, and shared it was completely different. We were moving from atoms to bits. The invention of the internet connected all of these computers together, creating a massive worldwide network. Suddenly, you could send a digital story, an email, to someone on the other side of the planet, and it would arrive in seconds, not weeks. You could visit a website and read an encyclopedia without ever touching a single book. Information that was once stored in a few specific places, like a library or a newspaper office, was now accessible from almost anywhere. This was like having the world's biggest library, museum, and newsstand all rolled into one, and the front door was right there on your computer screen. This digital revolution changed everything. Instead of waiting for the morning paper, you could get news updates instantly. Instead of sending photographs in the mail, you could attach them to an email. Knowledge became fluid and searchable. If you wanted to learn about ancient Egypt, you no longer had to just find a book about it. You could look up articles, view pictures of artifacts, and watch documentaries, all from your desk. Our stories were not only easier to access, but also richer, combining text, images, and even sound and video. This was just the beginning of a new era of storytelling, one that was faster and more interconnected than anyone could have dreamed. Now, here we are, in a time that would seem like pure science fiction to our ancestors. Where do our stories live today? Many of them live in the cloud. The cloud isn't a big fluffy thing in the sky, of course. It's a name we use for a huge global network of computers, servers, that are all connected. When you save a photo from your phone, write a document for school, or watch your favorite movie, that information is often stored on these servers. This means your stories aren't just on your device. They are everywhere and nowhere all at once, ready for you to access them from any phone, tablet, or computer anywhere in the world. Think about how you share stories with your friends and family today. You might take a video of a funny moment and post it online for hundreds of people to see instantly. You might collaborate on a school project with classmates who are in different houses, all typing on the same document at the same time. You can have a video call with your grandparents who live thousands of miles away, sharing your day's adventures face to face. Our stories have become immediate, interactive, and collaborative. We are no longer just consumers of stories. We are all creators, broadcasters, and publishers sharing the narrative of our lives as it happens. This instant, global sharing has transformed our world in amazing ways. Movements for change can start with a single post and spread around the globe in hours, connecting people who share the same passion for making the world a better place. A scientist in Brazil can share her research data in the cloud, allowing a researcher in Japan to build on her discoveries immediately. An artist can share their music from their bedroom and find a worldwide audience without ever signing a record deal. The cloud has democratized storytelling, giving a potential microphone to every single person on the planet. Your voice, your story, and your ideas can now reach farther and faster than ever before. Of course, with all this power comes a great responsibility. We have to learn to be good digital citizens, to tell the difference between true stories and false ones, and to use this incredible technology to build bridges, not walls. The tools have changed dramatically, from charcoal on a cave wall to a smartphone connected to the cloud, but the fundamental human need remains exactly the same. We all have a deep desire to connect, to share what we know and what we feel, and to leave our mark on the world. We are all storytellers, contributing our own unique verse to the never-ending poem of human experience. What a journey we have been on together! We have traveled from the flickering firelight of ancient caves to the bright glow of our modern screens. We saw our ancestors painting magnificent hunts on stone walls, sharing vital knowledge for survival, creating the first records of their lives. We watched ancient scribes patiently unroll papyrus scrolls, preserving laws, preserving myths, preserving history. These early steps were so important because they established the fundamental human tradition of passing our wisdom through time, ensuring that the lessons learned by one generation would not be lost to the next. Then, with a clank and a whir, the printing press arrived, and our world was never the same. Books, newspapers. This invention sparked a fire of curiosity and learning that spread across the globe, allowing ideas to challenge old ways of thinking and connect people who had never met. Then came the magic of photography, which gave us a real window into the past, allowing us to see the faces, allowing us to see the places of history. These innovations made our stories more accessible, more detailed, more personal, weaving us all into a single shared human narrative. And now, we live in an age of digital wonder. Our stories have become weightless, transformed into bits of data that can fly around the world in an instant. We carry entire libraries in our pockets, connect with people across oceans in real time, and share the moments of our lives as they unfold. From cave walls to cloud storage, the technology has changed in ways our ancestors could never have imagined. But the core purpose, the very heart of it all, has remained constant. Each step forward was driven by the same deep human need, the need to share, to connect, to learn, and to remember who we are. So, what is the next chapter in this incredible story? That, my friends, is up to you. You are the storytellers of tomorrow. The tools you will use might be different from the ones we use today, but your mission is the same as that of the very first human who painted on a cave wall. It is to share your truth, to listen to the stories of others, to learn from the past, and to build a better future. Never forget the power of a story. It can build bridges, it can inspire change, and it can connect us all. The great never-ending story of us continues, and you are holding the pen. But you don't have to take my word for it.